Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ahmad Ismail from IC 1105BB, and today I will present to you the introduction. Risk is defined as the uncertainty that will exist regarding to the outcomes in the future, which is according to the modern in 2007, and the word mukhtar, which is in Arabic language, that defined as a risk, which means danger. But there are some study in Islamic finance which defines the risk as an uncertainty, which also refers to also risk in finance and economy, which have been classified in very different ways. For example, to differentiate between the business and financial risk. Next, we move to the risk in Islamic finance. According to Muhammad Rawaz scholar LG 1985 and Al-Agri in 2003, risk is defined as action which can lead to uncertainty, as the word khatar, which refers as honor and respect, but also can be defined as harshness and surveillance or ruins, which can also be interpreted as an action that can lead into danger. And the first risk is the essential risk, which is risk that exists in every business transaction, and this risk is necessary because it will help to gain the profit. Next, the second type of risk is forbidden risk, which is also known in the form of excessive error. The word error also implies as ignorant, gambling, cheating, and fraud can make the contract become void. Next, the tolerable risk that need to be avoided, which is defined by Hassan as a permissible risk that is different from the above category, which means that the risks are insignificant, unavoidable, and unintentional. Thus, the risk can be categorized as operational risk, liquidity risk, and credit risk. And the credit risk is related to the default or delay in deferred payment by the business partner. Next is the market risk, which is related to the bad movement of the interest rate, foreign exchange rate, and the commodity price. And next is the equity risk, which is related to the bad or adverse changes in the market value and also in the liquidity of the equity that is held for the purpose of investment. Next is liquidity risk, which is related because of the bad cash flow, and this is because of the credit risk exposure, operational risk exposure, and the market risk exposure. Next is the rate of the return risk, which is attributed to the changes in the expectation of the return of the investment from the account holder. And then is operational risk, which is related to the lack of insufficiency of people, system, and also the failed process. Finally is the legal risk, which is related to the deficiency of the legal framework, conflict between Sharia rulings and legal decision, and also because of the conflict of this.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Aidin Baisarani. So right now I will present about a background of Affin Islamic Bank Berhad. But at first, we are going through about Affin Bank Berhad. So Affin Bank Berhad is a financial holding company of Affin Islamic Bank Berhad, Affin Wang Investment Bank Berhad, Affin Money Brokers SDN BHD, and ASA Affin Life Insurance Berhad. Why? ASA Affin General Insurance Berhad is a affiliate of Affin Bank Berhad. That is a background of Affin Islamic Berhad. Affin Islamic Bank Berhad is a whole owned subsidiary of Affin Bank Berhad, was incorporated on 13 September 2005 and officially operates as an Islamic bank from 1 April 2006. So, liquidity risk can be defined as a risk that bank inability to finance an increase in assets and meet obligation when they arrive without incurring unacceptable losses. Next, how Affin Islamic Bank Berhad manage their risk? He doing the measurement, control, and monitoring. which is the example is Affin Islamic Bank made a short-term liquidity risk management and long-term liquidity risk management. Then the short-term liquidity risk management is based on the final standard of the B&M liquidity coverage ratio LCR, and long-term liquidity risk profiles are assessed through a net stable financial ratio, which is called NSFR. Net is operational risk. What is operational risk? Okay, operational risk is defined as the risk of direct or indirect losses caused by inadequate or failure process people and internal system or external events. The definition includes legal risk and exposure to litigation from all aspects of the bank activities, but it not included by strategic business, reputation and systematic risk. How Affin Islamic Bank manage the operational risk is the bank use the following standard operating risk tool for risk identification and assessment and control, which is RCSA, KCS, KRI, and LED. So process in which the business or support unit identifies the occurrence of operating risk in specific scenarios, assessing possible outcomes, and the need for additional risk management control or mitigation solution for each potential result.
We go to the next part, which is the Sharia non-compliance risk. The Sharia non-compliance risk is the risk of legal or regulatory section, financial loss or non-financial implication, including reputational damage, which the bank may suffer arising from the failure to comply with the ruling of the Sharia Advisory Council of Bank Negara Malaysia. And then the Sharia risk management is also a part of integrated risk management to control function to identify all possible risks of SNC. The scope covers all business activity and operation commencing from Islamic product origination until its maturity. How SNC overcome the risk or manage the risk? Okay, the first is the SNC event reporting to the BNM, which is the Sharia loss data are collected for evaluation, monitoring, and reporting. And then Sharia risk using a Sharia risk and control self-assessment, which is to systematically assist business unit and functional lines to identify and assess SNC risk and control. RSCSA is also performed annually or when there is occurrence or significant event, either internal or external. The third is the key risk indicator, which is by monitoring key SNC risk exposure over time. It provides management early alert of changes in the risk and control environment. The next part is the last part is the key control standard, which is to validate the effectiveness of control measures. We go to the next part, which is business continuity risk. The business continuity risk is the risk of losses in asset, revenue, reputation, and stakeholder, or the customer lost the confidence due to the discontinuation of service in both business and technology operation. The BCM function is an independent body overseeing the management of the overall business continuity risk, which on how and the business continuity risk management in Affin Islamic Bank Berhad. Okay, the annual risk assessment and business impact analysis are made compulsory for each business and support unit in the bank to undertake. The outcome of this assessment will translate into a risk listing that require business and support unit to derive action plans to address the risk. And then the risk control is established through adherence with established BCM guideline and standard throughout the implementation of BCM program. And then the rigorous testing on business continuity and disaster recovery plan are legally performed to ensure effective and smooth execution of the plan for resumption and recovery of disrupted business. On this, the policies and processes are in place to support the monitoring and reporting of business continuity risk.
Hai, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Berhad Ahmad Zafri bin Megasadan. Now we proceed to 3.5, which is market risk. Okay, what is market risk? Market risk is defined as the changes that happen in the market value of the financial instrument position that arise from the movement in the market factors such as the profit rate, the foreign exchange rate, and volatility rates. So the bank are exposed largely from two market risks, which is the profit rate and the foreign exchange rate. Okay, then we go to the market risk management objective. So the objective is to govern the market risk activities of the bank. So there are policies, procedures, and guidelines that have been provided from the set of approved market risk management in order to prevent the market risk. The next risk management policies and procedures are reviewed and updated. This is to ensure their relevance to current business needs as well as the current or applicable regulatory requirements such as Bank Negara Malaysia. So the first one is managing unauthorized trading and market manipulation. Second, code of conduct for Malaysia wholesale financial markets. And the third one is principle for a fair and effective financial market for Malaysia financial market. Okay, next we move to the market risk measurement, control and monitoring. So for the first one is the profit rates risk is quantified by analyzing the mismatch in timing repricing of the rate sensitive assets and rates sensitive liabilities. Next is in short-term earnings, earning at risk or net profit income simulation is conducted to assess the variation under various rate scenarios. And then mark-to-market valuation tracks the current market value of the outstanding financial instrument. And then stress tests are conducted to attempt to quantify market risk arising from the abnormal market movements. Okay, then we move to the foreign exchange risk. So the banks are unprotected to the potential of fluctuation in the prevailing foreign currency exchange rates on its cash flow and financial position. So the bank is exposed to the effect of fluctuation in the prevailing foreign currency exchange rates and on its financial position and cash flow. So how the risk of the fluctuation in foreign currency exchange rates is managed via setting of thresholds on the level of exposure by currency and in aggregate for both overnight and intraday positions, which is monitored daily. So that's all from me. Thank you.
As a conclusion, we can conclude that risk management is an important aspect in every financial institution in order to help the financial institution to grow and develop in the future.